It's finally time for the flying saucer video. No, I'm joking. So, welcome to Smarter Every Day. This is a YouTube channel that my name's Destin. I make little experiments sometimes to try to understand things. And there's a thing that I want to understand that, if I'm honest, I have pretended to understand it in the past, but I don't think I really did. And that thing is gyroscopic precession, okay? I know how gyroscopic precession works. If you touch a thing on one direction, it happens 90 degrees out of phase if it's spinning. And there's been a lot of explanations on the internet, and most of them involve a bicycle wheel. I've got friends that have made videos about this. You can see professors use a bicycle wheel to explain gyroscopic precession. I've even made a video using a bicycle wheel with my friend Carl trying to explain gyroscopic precession. But what I explained is what happens, not why it happens. And I think a lot of videos, mine included, kind of assume a lot of prior knowledge and they jump from like 0 to 10. But what I need is a baby step towards understanding about gyroscopic precession. So this video today is for me. I'm trying to understand this, and I'm happy that you're here because I have a crazy setup in the garage and I'm going to show it to you now, okay? So first of all, this is the garage and I have cameras everywhere, okay? I'll just show you the cameras. Got a camera here. Is it on? Are you on camera? Yep, that camera's on. Got a camera there. Got a camera there. Got a camera here. Got a camera down there on the floor, and got one way over here, okay? So what you'll notice is I've got an arrow in the floor, and that represents the direction that this model of a disc is going to fly. If I were a big person and I could throw a frisbee or a disc like this, whoosh, this is how the disc would fly. And the reason we're making this video is because I'm doing a series on how disc golf discs fly, and I want to understand it. And I came up against this problem where gyroscopic precession is involved, hard to even say, and I realized I didn't understand it. And so I built this model, and then I realized this video needs to be its own video because I haven't seen an explanation like this on the internet, okay? So first of all, let's look at this disc. If I have just a disc suspended from these 4 wires that you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got a bearing here so things can spin. But what would happen if I just take my finger and I push down on this disc right here? So this camera is 90 degrees here. I'm throwing it that way. What happens if I push down on this? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it just tips. No big deal, right? No big deal. So now let's look at gyroscopic precession. Let's look at what happens when the disc is spinning and I put a force there. Okay, let's do that. And the way we're gonna put the spinitude in this is I have 3D printed that thing, and I have the disc Spin-O-Matic 3000 here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that little silicone paint stirrer, that's my last of 3 because I broke the other 2. We're gonna put that in there and we're gonna slowly add spin to this. Another way to say this is we're going to increase angular momentum, but we're not going to use big physics words here. We're just going to spin things. Okay, so spinning this thing up, and I've learned that if it's bent like that, then I can go faster once it straightens out. All right, caught up to me? Catching up to, all right, there it goes. All right. All right, one of the hardest parts is to decouple. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, we have decoupled. That's very stressful. I've broken 2 of those so far. Okay, so we now have a spinning disc with a lot of angular momentum, okay? Let's do the same thing as before, except this time we're going to push down with air right here, okay? So is it going to do the same thing it did last time? Let's watch. I've got a 90-degree angle here. Watch what happens. 3, 2, 1. It does not. It does not do the same thing. If you were watching, I pushed down here with the air, and that side over there went down. So 90 degrees after the applied force, it went down. And you'll notice it's doing this wobbling thing now. Okay, so the The more experienced of you out there will note that this is actually gyroscopic precession. And yes, you're right. And that's a function of how I have my device set up here. But I think it's neat that we applied a force here and it saw something happen 90 degrees out of phase over there, right? Okay, let's do it one more time. And then I'll show you one other thing, okay? So, all right, we're gonna slow this down, quit the wobble. This time I'm gonna push up, and I'm gonna let you think about what's gonna happen, okay? Where's my drill? It's here, okay, here it is. Decoupling, all right. Man, that's like refueling an airplane or something. All right, so we've got our angular momentum applied. This time, I'm going to push up right here, okay? And so if I push up, gyroscopic precession says that whatever I do here is gonna happen 90 degrees later. So if you just watch the first second and a half before all the friction and stuff takes over, watch what happens. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You can see it lifted on that other side. It's not exactly 90 degrees. I've got some problems with my setup, but you can see it's not lifting where I'm blowing the air, which is what it seems like it should do. So this is what's happening. This is a way of thinking about what just happened. So I pushed on the bottom of that thing with air right here, right? So we're right here, but the displacement of the disc was actually over here. So I had this lift vector here, but the displacement didn't happen till way over here, right? And if you look at that from the top down, that's pretty weird. Isn't that weird? Why am I pushing here and a thing happens over here? This is the part that I'm super excited about. This is an explanation that finally, my buddy told me about this, and it kind of works, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. We're going to ignore angular rotation and angular momentum. Those are big words that are intimidating. We're gonna look at plain old linear momentum. That's what we're gonna do, okay? So I've got this camera here. You're now on that tripod up there. And I'm gonna talk to you right here, and I've got this cue ball here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab this number 5 ball here. And what I'm gonna do is, you know how pool balls work, right? Like if I have just a ball sitting right there, let's zoom in on that. If I've got a ball sitting there and I want to roll this other ball into it, there's a momentum transfer there that happens, right? So let's do it one more time. I'm gonna roll into it. So whatever angle it hits at, it's gonna go off at a different angle. But let's look at what happens when this thing is rolling. So if I have a ball, this 5 ball is moving from right to left, and then I hit it as it goes by. Look at that, it goes down at an angle. Did you see that? Let's try that one more time. So I'm gonna roll it here, 5 ball coming across. I hit it, goes down at an angle. So the ball rolls in, and it has just velocity in this X direction, right? It's just going in that direction. This ball comes in and hits it about right here, and it's got velocity in this Y direction. So we've got momentum in X, momentum in Y, and then what happens is you get a resultant momentum, and that resultant momentum is that ball going off at an angle, okay? So the system remains the same. So watch, all the X that I put in and all the Y that I put in, it stays the same even after the collision, okay? That's interesting, okay? So here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna go back to our other little thing that we were looking at over there. Let me get you off this tripod. Let me bring you back over here, and I've got a trick for you. I think this is really neat. Okay, so if you think about our disc, our model of the Jolly Green Giants disc golf disc, or whatever this is, right? All it is, basically, is its mass out at a radius from a pivot point, right? That's all it is. Smart people will know how to calculate the moment of inertia as mr square, or in this case, it's going to be somewhere between 1/2 mr square and mr square. But what if we replace that mass at a radius with pool balls? Ooh. Just like that over there, we had that little situation where we had linear momentum. What if we use the tool of linear momentum to think about this rotational momentum, or this angular momentum? It'll make sense in a second. Okay, so remember, I've got a camera over there looking in the direction of flight, indicated by the arrow on the floor there. So that's where the red ball is right now, the number 3 ball. We also have this blue one over here. So, and then we've got this camera that's looking 90 degrees off, right? So I can do the same thing as before, okay? I can rotate this thing up, but what I want you to do is just think about this reference frame. This camera right here is the most important camera in the whole place. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate it up again. Let's do this. I'm not gonna rotate this as fast because I've learned that lesson the hard way. Don't worry about it, it was crazy. So I'm rotating this thing up a little bit. I'm gonna decouple. So now think about this camera as the same thing. I've got a ball coming in from the right, going to the left. And what happens if I roll another ball down and I hit it? What happens? You're just thinking about this camera. It goes down at that angle, like we talked about earlier, right? So if you think about it, if I've got an X component of momentum, I've got a Y component of momentum, I get a resultant, right? I'm just looking at this 2D plane right here on this camera. But that's not where we live in right now. We're living in a rotational reference frame and we're connected to this stick. So if it goes down, it's got to go down like that. And that means that ball up there goes up. And then once we get like that, well, there's nowhere to go. We have to continue rotating like that, right? So I like to think of this whole thing as a linear momentum problem that kind of manifests itself in some kind of weird gyroscopic wobble that only really smart physicists can understand, right? So watch again. We're gonna rotate. I'm gonna go a little faster if I can. Gonna rotate. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna try to drop it. I've missed it a lot. Look at that. About 90 degrees. Okay? So that's something I want to think about. And you notice it kind of wobbled in a really bad way after the fact. That's because I've got friction here. That's because this is an imperfect demonstration. I've got this pendulum and there's this other thing happening here that's hard to explain. But for now, this is just a tool that lets me think about the effects of gyroscopic precession in terms of displacement. That's what this does for me mentally, okay? So, okay, we have that. Let's go back to the disc, okay? If I were to put the disc back on there, let's think about it like this. We're gonna start, and the reason I'm doing all this is because in this disc golf disc video, I realized how much gyroscopic precession plays into rotational dynamics. Like when I finished my master's degree in mechanical and aerospace engineering, I left the room and I went outside and I looked up and there was a helicopter flying. And I realized I have no idea how that's working. And so I'm guilty of a lot of time thinking I know things, but I don't really understand them. And so that's why we're doing this, is because I want to understand it in a way that I haven't before. So let's go back and think about this spinning disc. Okay, so I'm gonna spin the thing again. And this time I'll spin it that way and we'll blow up this time, okay? So I'm gonna get it going. This is fun, so let's just get another camera here, just because it's fun to watch this part. It's really hard to see. All right, so here we go. Let me get this going here. I always have to concentrate a whole lot here because I can do things like that and break things. All right, I feel like I'm docking with a spacecraft in Interstellar. Okay, so now we've got this thing moving. And now what I want you, it's rotating that way, okay? I want you to think of it not as mass, but as a bunch of billiard balls. And we're gonna come in with the air and we're gonna hit it right there, okay? So what's going to be the effect? If we do that, let's go up. Let's say I'm gonna hit it with a billiard ball going up. Yeah, let's just change it up. What's gonna happen? If I blow up here, it's gonna go what? It tilts up on that side over there. Now, it's not perfect. Let's slow it down. It's not perfect because I've got a lot of friction and stuff there. Oh, I just marked up the top of the thing. But you get the idea of what's going on, right? So with gyroscopic precession, if it's rotating, if you apply a force in one location, the displacement actually occurs in a lag type way, 90 degrees out of phase. And it's a really interesting concept, this gyroscopic precession. And a lot of the explanations that you'll see on the internet involve a bicycle wheel. But if you go back and you look at the bicycle wheel and you just think about it in these terms, you can get to the place where you understand it just using this simple linear momentum model. I recognize that I probably said a lot of things wrong, but this is just a mental tool that allows me to understand what's going on. And I love it. I think it's really, really cool. So what if we did it one more time and you got to guess? Do you want to do that? Okay, so let me spin it the other way. I'll spin it the other way and you guess where it's going to go, okay? Okay, it's rotating. Maybe not as fast as I want it to, but now if it's rotating this direction and I put the air down right here, what's going to happen? My hope is that you now understand this and you enjoy it, because I think it's really neat. And it took me a while to understand exactly what was going on with gyroscopic precession. So I just think of it as a rotating mass that's being hit. So I think of it as just generally a billiard ball that's kind of rotating. I guess I have to balance it out. Yeah, I think of it as a billiard ball that's rotating in this direction, and then if I hit it as it's rotating, it has to go down. It goes down like that, which tilts the thing like that. That's how I think of it. So, all right, well, there's an imperfect physics analogy that I'm sure the internet's gonna love. Now what I wanna do is I wanna show you a really cool thing. Every year on Smarter Every Day, I create stickers for people that support Smarter Every Day on Patreon. And it's a gimmick. It's totally a gimmick, and everybody's in on the gimmick. My goal here is to make intelligent, respectful content that's just genuine and fun, and people that support on Patreon allow me to be free from the algorithm. The idea is, I want to thank you for sticking with me. It's a dad joke. But the cool thing is, these stickers only happen once. Like, if you're either in that sticker team or you're not. And I want to show you this year's sticker team. So on Patreon, patreon.com/smartereveryday. If you are a patron, by the end of January, we're going to cut it off then. I'm literally going to mail you these stickers, and you can do whatever you want with them. They're really fun. Okay, so I asked the patrons, what do you want as a sticker? And the overwhelming response were two things. The first one was the Smarter Scrubber. So this year's, one of the stickers here is the Smarter Scrubber. It says, I support local manufacturing, because we wanted it to apply to people who don't live in America. The purpose of that video earlier this year was about made in America. But I think no matter where you live, you should support local manufacturing. So the Smarter Scrubber, I support local manufacturing. I love this one. We went through a lot of iterations. The Smarter Scrubber, if you don't know, it's a chainmail grill scrubber. The purpose of that is so if you're cleaning your grill, you won't get those wire bristles on your grill, which can be a medical issue. But the Smarter Scrubber sticker is beautiful, and I'm excited about that. The second sticker, so we did a nuclear power series this year. We started the nuclear power series, and one of the first things we did was we visited EBR1. And we talked about a fast reactor, and it uses fast neutrons. And we created this little character called the fast neutron. Whee! And he kind of shoots across the screen. And so I think this one's really, really fun. So you can get your own fast neutron to put anywhere that you feel needs neutron radiation. And that's a sticker. You can do whatever you want with it. It's made to look like felt. I love it. And then this is the Big Daddy sticker. This is the big one. All right, here we go. The Smarter Every Day Nuclear Power Team sticker. So this is only going to happen once. I love it. It looks like lithium. I got it. It's the Bohr atom of the model. Some people don't like the Bohr, the Bohr model of the atom. I think I said that wrong, but I love it. I think it's great. Lithium is very important for fusion power, and so that's what we went with. So if you would like to be a part of the Smarter Everyday Nuclear Power Team, this is your one shot to join. If you're not a Patreon member by the end of this month, January, it's over. You can't do it. But if you are a member, we're going to mail it to you, which I think is awesome. So these are the three stickers. So we've got the Smarter Scrubber, I support local manufacturing, really cool holographic rainbow looking thing. Then we've got fast neutron, and then we've got the Smarter Everyday Nuclear Power Team. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. This was just a thing that I wanted to understand better, and so what better way to do it than to make a goofy contraption in the, I mean, like, look at this. It's wild. And it took a really long time to figure all this out. So I hope you enjoyed it. That's it. I'm Destin. You're getting smarter every day. Feel free to subscribe if you're into that sort of thing. If not, no big deal. Have a good one.